Hi guys, I'm Harry, and today we're going to be talking about the new ARRI Omnibar. For those that don't know me, I'm a product manager. I've been in the industry for over 10 years as a lighting technician and gaffer, and I'm super excited to be here to talk about the Omnibar. We've all used multiple linear fixtures in the industry, and I think we've made some really great improvements, not only in light quality, but also in mounting options and optics. So let's get into the basics. The Omnibar has a 5-colour light engine, red, green, blue, mint and amber, especially designed for this form factor. It's available in 2 lengths, 2 foot and 4 foot, the 2 foot being 16 pixel and the 4 foot being 32 pixel. So really nice high resolution fixture. As with all ARRI products, brilliant build quality and brilliant light quality. You've got all the ARRI colour science in here that you would expect, which is consistent with all other ARRI products that you might have used. We have also got interchangeable optics, which you can see here, which just snap on and off. I'll talk about those more later on in the video. The fixture is IP65, so you can use it inside, outside, in all weathers. If we flip the fixture over here, you can see we've got power in and out. We've got our control interface, where you've got all your CCT, RGB, HSI control, but you've also got your DMX, setting your profiles, and loads of other features built into the fixture there. We have got built-in magnets, which I think is a great idea for just those quick rigs where you just need to throw up a fixture. That's a really nice touch. We've got zip tie or cable tie points on the back and also on the end. Again, great for just those quick rigs where you need to throw a fixture in last minute. And the great thing about having them built into the fixture is that you don't have to cross the aperture with the cable tie. So that's a really nice touch. I'm going to be going into a lot more detail about the mounting options and various other features of the Omnibar. But for now, let's get into the light quality. Here at ARRI, light quality is always number one, and with the 5-colour light engine, specially designed for the Omnibar, we're really happy with the colour consistency across all ARRI products. So if you're using an Omnibar with a SkyPanel X or a SkyPanel Pro, you'll get really consistent colours throughout. The Omnibar has really accurate white light with a broad CCT range of 1700 to 20,000 Kelvin, achieving a CRI and TLCI of 98 between 3200 and 5600. It also has great saturated colours, as you can see behind me, and these are all accessible via the modes that you'll all know, RGB, HSI, X and Y, and there is also built-in gels from Lee and Roscoe that you will expect and have seen in other ARRI fixtures. Like with the SkyPanel X, the low-end dimming is really impressive, right down to 0.1%. If I show you here, we'll come down from 40 all the way to 0, and then as you come up, there's no big jumps and no color shift. There's also a built-in boost mode, which gives you an extra 25% at 3200, but this does depend on your ambient temperature of the space that you're filming in. So that's everything for light quality. Let's move on to optics. One of the most unique things about the Omnibar is the interchangeable optics, which are all magnetic and super easy to change in and out. In a kit, you get 3 options: the round diffuser, the flat diffuser, and my favorite, the intensifier, which you'll all be familiar with from the SkyPanel range. So we have the round diffuser. This gives you the softest quality of light and the widest beam angle, and is probably most similar to a tube style fixture. As you can see behind me, we're using this on the shapes that we've created, and I've also put a 2 and a 4 foot bar together, and with the round diffuser, you almost get that seamless connection of the 2 bars, which obviously is a great touch if you are connecting multiple bars together in a really long line. Secondly, we have the flat diffuser, which gives you a slightly different on-camera look. This slightly lower profile is great if you are building into a set, or if you are adding the fixture into a practical housing, say like a fluorescent tube housing. This is a great option for that with its slightly lower profile. Lastly, we have my favorite, the intensifier. this gives you a 60-degree beam angle and 50% more output. With something like a snap grid as a backlight, this gives you that extra punch and a much more directional source. With all of the diffusers, it makes no difference to the IP rating of the fixture, so you can swap them out in the rain or in a dusty environment. The IP rating is valid for all of the accessories. I'll talk a little bit more about the kits at the end of the video, but these are all available in the production and combo kits and will also be available individually. So let's get into the rigging options. Rigging with this kind of form factor can often be a little bit tricky with loose fitting clips and accessories that feel like a little bit of an afterthought. But we've spent a lot of time perfecting the accessories that we've provided and making sure you have as many options as possible. So let's get into it. In the back, we have 2 magnets in the 2-foot and 4 in the 4-foot. These are built into the fixture, so there's no protruding magnets. Great for kind of keeping a really low form factor. You don't need that extra grip. If you're fitting into a small space, you can connect straight onto a piece of scaff, or if you've got a metal door frame, you can fix it straight in. Super agile and quick to move around. We've also got zip tie or cable tie points on the back, which are also on the ends as well. And the ones on the ends are positioned at the center of gravity. So if you're hanging the fixture from a cable tie or from some soft wire, they will hang perfectly straight. Next, on the end of the bar, we have also got a 3/8 screw, which is for your eye bolt. This again could be for hanging the fixture on wires, or obviously for just a safety point for when you're rigging above head height. Additionally to this, you can also screw in your mini tripod. This again goes at the end of the bar, simply screws in. This has 3 heights, which you can adjust by rotating this point here. And so you've got the highest point, and then you rotate slightly, a medium point, and you can then, which I think is great for maximum stability, you can go completely flat on the ground. And there's also a 1/4-20 screw point and some additional holes in the legs. So if you were in a place where you could, screw the tripod down to the ground for maximum stability, you could, or you could screw a spigot in and hang off a sandbag or something if you just needed to add a little bit of weight to make it extra safe. Okay, let's get to the exciting part. On the back of the fixture, we have this rail system, and for this, we've designed the OmniGrip. The OmniGrip is a quick release grip, which can be placed onto the back of the fixture, anywhere along the fixture, and simply tightened like that. And this is now a secure point to rig onto. So there's no rotation and there's no movement in this. This is ready for you to either attach spigots to the 3/8 screw holes, or we've also got 1/4-20 here as well. Screw holes can also take your eye bolts that I showed you earlier. This obviously can be an additional safety point. With the screw points, you also have these 3 slots, 2 on the side and 1 on the top. This is for our Omni pin. This is a 5/8 spigot with a safety mechanism on the end, and this can be easily placed on the sides like this with a simple thumb screw to tighten. In this position, you've got quite a narrow, slim form factor if you need to get it up against a wall. And additionally, you've got the other position, which clamps like this. And again, if you need to move or reposition your OmniGrip, simply unlock, reposition, and clamp. And say you needed to swap your bar out for any reason, you can obviously leave the OmniGrip in the stand, in its position, and just swap the bar out without anything moving, which I think is great. Additionally, if you have got a kit and you need another 4-foot bar, but you've only got 2 foots left, you can put your two foots together, take your OmniGrip, simply drop it in between in the join and clamp, and then you've made yourself a 4-foot bar. And like we mentioned before, with the various optics, you can get that seamless connection and it will basically act as a 4-foot bar. As well as the Omni grip, we've got the Omni clip. This is a dual purpose clip which attaches to the back rail like this, and this can be used to floor mount the fixture. You've got a 90-degree, 45 and 0-degree angle, which is obviously great for uplighting a back wall or uplighting a curtain. And additionally to that, these remove really easily and clip on really easily, by the way, as you can see. Which brings me to the next use case for the clip. This is the installation guide. This allows you to fix the clips to a piece of set or a wall if you're in a location where you're allowed to screw into the wall. Each clip has various holes in the back, including some threaded holes. So the installation guide helps you to fix your bar parallel, so you haven't got one clip up here and one clip down here and you fix it all and you're ready to go and you put your bar and it doesn't line up. So you fix your clips in with your guide. Once they're fixed, you remove the guide and push in your Omnibar, and that's then secure and ready to go. And like with the floor stand, you've also got the 3 angles if you need to, tilt slightly up or tilt slightly down when you've got your bar in position. The other great thing about the Omni clip is that it's only €3 to buy. So if you wanted to buy extra to put into your van or truck for storage, or if you've created a custom barrow or cart, you could buy extra clips, arrange them in any format that you wanted, and you've got a great way to transport your Omni bars around. You could also create some 4 banks or 2 banks, a bit of timber, some clips, a few screws. You can get really creative with these. So we're excited to see what people come up with. That's everything for the grip. Let's move to control. So I've swapped over to a 4-foot bar in black with an intensifier, just to show you something a little bit different. And the easiest way to start controlling your Omnibar is via the onboard user interface. So we're going to start going through, and you've got the usual color options, color modes. You've got your CCT, HSI, XY, RGB. You've got your built-in gels that I mentioned earlier from Lee and Roscoe. And you've got your effects. Let's just go into effects. You've got pixel effects and media effects. So the media effects are your usual suspects, your fire, your explosion, your TV. And if we go up to swipe, these are your pixel effects. And the great thing about this onboard menu is the level of control that you've got within the fixture to control these parameters. So at the moment we've got 2 colors, but we can go up to 6 colors in the effect, and then we can choose each color, and then we can change the speed. We can change the direction of the effect, and we can also add strobing to the effect as well. If we go back, we can look at one of the media effects. So fire effect is obviously a popular effect to use, and with this again we've got intensity control, we've got speed control, and also, which is quite unique for this kind of built-in effect, is a color temperature control. So for a warmer fire effect you've got your 18 to 22,000 Kelvin, and if you wanted a slightly cooler effect you've got your 26 to 300. So there's a good level of control within the onboard menu. Additionally, we go to the wireless DMX. You've got your dimming curve options, runtime, which you'll all be familiar with. This can be anything from maximum output to 16 hours, which, if you're running a fixture for a 16-hour day, set it to 16 hours and it will elongate that battery life to 16 hours if you're unlucky enough to be doing a 16-hour day. You've got the boost control, which I spoke about before. This is a simple on-off, and again, that's dependent on your ambient room temperature, so it will run for a certain amount of time until it gets too hot, and then it will start cutting down the output. Got your display set up, your Bluetooth settings for app control, and then your fixture info, and then further settings. If we go back to CCT, I'll just give you a quick demonstration of changing things like the CCT value. So you can go right down to your 1700 and come all the way through to your 20,000 Kelvin. And you've also got your green and magenta shift as well. So as you can see, there is a huge amount of control that you can get from the onboard menu, and it's super intuitive and easy to use. I think if you're working on a smaller set, you could totally get away with using just these onboard menus, like you've just seen for controlling CCT or even getting into the pixel effects and media effects. So that's the onboard menu. Let's get into the wireless options and CRMX. In terms of wireless connectivity, the Omnibar uses the industry standard CRMX protocol with a Lumen Radio TMO2 chip built in. This means it is compatible with most third-party CRMX bridges, so you don't need any extra dongles or additions to get the bar up and running wirelessly. We've also been working with the guys over at Blackout to make sure the Omnibar is part of their fixture library, so you'll have all the DMX profiles ready to go, and the GDTF file will also be on the ARRI website for use with larger consoles. To accompany the Omnibar, we've developed the Omnibar Control app. This is available on both Android and iOS and works via a new Bluetooth mesh protocol. The mesh protocol works by sending signals through the bars rather than one to each individual bar. This means you can use the bars at a much greater distance with minimal latency. So through the app, you can do everything that I've shown you can do on the manual control, plus much more. On the left-hand side, you've got your project tree. This is where you add your fixtures, you can create groups, and you can create shapes, which is what we've done behind. On the right-hand side, this is where you can control the fixtures. And here you have all the normal color modes that we talked about earlier. So start, we've got the CCT mode, where you've got presets, where you can cycle through the CCT range. You've also got your green and magenta shift. Next, you've got your HSI with the color wheel, so you can cycle through this, and as you can see, it's super responsive and easy to use. Next, we have RGB, where again, you've got the full color spectrum to select from, where you can dial in the RGB values. Next, we've got our gel mode with a full complement from Lee and Roscoe. And the great thing here is that you can select a gel and then select the color temperature that you want the gel to be applied to. So whether that's 3200 or 5600. You've also got a search bar up here. So if you know your numbers, you can just dial in a number and select, and you're good to go. We're next onto the X and Y mode. Here, it's obviously great if you're trying to match the fixture to another fixture. You can just dial in the X and Y values from that other fixture, or the other way around, dial in the values from the Omnibar into the other fixture that you're using. You can also turn on the black body curve and lock it to the curve for another way to cycle through the color temperature range. Lastly, we've got our media and pixel effects. Here you can see all the effects that you are used to from the SkyPanel X, SkyPanel Pro. And if we go into Candle here, you've got your intensity, and obviously you can change your speed. And here you have the 3 color temperature ranges that you saw in the manual control. So you can select through those depending on how warm or cool you want your fire effect. So let's go back to pixel effects. And here, I've got a single chase going through, and like with the manual controls that we saw earlier, there is multiple ways to configure this specific effect. You can change the amount of pixels you want in the effect. You can alter the speed, so we can take this right down slow. You can also change the color. So if we go to more of a cyan. So this will now cycle through, and this is a great way to have maximum control straight out the box. So you don't need any additional hardware or programming knowledge. You can just dive straight in and have all the controls that I've just shown you here. So we're going to go back to CCT. We're going to take the intensity down a touch. And then I'm going to talk to you about this status button. So this is where you can go in, you can see all the bars that are connected to the app. You can see what they're doing, what modes they're in, the temperature of the bar, and also the battery level of the bar. So this is a great way to keep an eye on your bars if you've got multiples built into sets or spread out over a large area. You can go in here and keep a really good eye on what they're doing, how they're performing. So the app is also the best way to update the firmware on your bars. The app will download the firmware, and then all you need to do is instruct it to install it on the bar. You can also do this with groups of bars, which is obviously great if you're a rental company or if you've got a large amount of bars that you need to do. You can select them all, instruct it to do the update, and it will go through and update them one after the other. As we all know, it's often more reliable to have a wired DMX connection for your fixtures, especially when rigging over height, where access to the fixtures after rigging isn't easy. For this, we've got a power and data cable. The great thing about the Omnibar is that we've got power and data in and power and data out. So you can effectively daisy chain your fixtures, which means you don't need to run an individual cable to each bar. So we've got a power and data cable here into the input, come out of the output on the first bar, and into the input on the second bar. And with this, you can do up to 6 Omnibar 2s on one line and up to 3 Omnibar 4s on another line. To do this, you'll need an Omnibase. This is our power and control unit. So through this, you'll charge multiple bars straight out the box, and you can also configure your network settings for any hardwired connections. Like with the Omnibar, we've thought about rigging for this, and the great thing is that you can reutilize your Omni pin. So on the back side, you've got that similar connection that you saw on the Omni grip. You simply retract the safety, insert, and tighten the thumb screw. And so you've then got a solid rigging point for rigging on a piece of scaff or truss if you're rigging above height, or if you're using the bars, if you're using multiple bars on a stand, you can use this to charge them at the bottom of the stand. Additionally, we also have some through holes on the 4 corners for screwing into a piece of set if you're doing a more permanent install. And we've also got some 3/8 rigging points at the top and bottom. The Omnibase is IP65, just like the Omnibar, and it can support up to 6 universes, which is obviously great for any larger pixel mapping installations. So let's take a look at the inputs and outputs on the back. On the left-hand side here, you've got DMX512, input and out. You've also got your PowerCon True 1 input and output as well, which is obviously great if you're using multiple Omnibases in a rig. And you've also got your RJ45 for networking, your ArtNet, your SACN, which again is great if you're using multiple Omnibases. You can daisy chain these together in a larger network. On the front side, we've got our 6 DC barrel jack connectors. This is for charging the bars and also for your hardwired data connections. Obviously, the data and power cables are IP rated when inserted into the base, but when you're not using them to keep the IP rating, the rubber caps need to be inserted. So let's power this up and show you the onboard controls. Takes a couple of seconds just to boot up. This is basically where you'll configure all your network settings. You can assign your universes to each port, and as you can see, there is a nice intuitive touchscreen to cycle through all the options. When you've got bars daisy chained, you can go in and you can identify them and do various other things within the Omnibase. We're going to do a much deeper dive on the Omnibase in future videos. That's it for the Omnibase. We'll also be doing longer power and data cables and single chargers. As we know, sometimes if you're already using your Omnibase on one part of the set, you've got some individual bars being used that need a little bit of charge. You can use those individual chargers. Let's move on to the kits. We're going to show you what's included in a kit and how the bars are packaged. The kits come in multiple configurations. We have 2 larger kits, the production kit and the combo kit. The production kit comes with 6 Omnibar 4s, all the optics that I showed you earlier, the round diffuser, the flat diffuser, and the intensifier, all the grip gear, the Omni grip, the Omni pin, the mini tripod and the eye bolt, and obviously the Omni base and all the charging cables. The combo kit comes with 4 Omnibar 4s and 4 Omnibar 2s, which is obviously great if you want more versatility within your kit. And don't forget, if you have run out of Omnibar 4s within your kit, you can connect those 2 Omnibar 2s to make an Omnibar 4, and you can also connect an Omnibar 4 and an Omnibar 2 to create a 6-foot Omnibar. Again, all the optics are included, the grip gear, the power and data cables, and of course the Omni base. Or if you're a rental company and wanting to build your own kits, the Omnibar 4 and 2 and all the accessories are available to purchase individually. While larger kits are more suited to bigger productions and rental companies, if you're looking to get your hands on just a single bar, the best way to do that is via our Creator Kit. This includes an Omnibar 2 and the mini tripod, a flat diffuser, intensifier, Omni grip and pin, 2 Omni clips, eye bolts, and a single charger. And of course, this is also compatible with the Omni Control app, which is available to download for free. So this is the most economical way to get your hands on an Omnibar. In terms of availability, I'm very happy to say that the Omnibar is shipping from today. If you need any more information, I recommend heading to the website, arri.com/Omnibar. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. I've been Harry from ARRI. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.